to have more kids.
You do?
Yeah.
More kids? That sounds like many.
I mean, you know how whatever my body could take and I feel like I can take.
A judge quietly signed off on a DNA test for one of Cardi B's children, while also putting the entire case under a gag order. Because of that, the only things the public can really see right now are a shooting, a breakup that may not have actually been a breakup, and a viral claim that the court record appears to contradict. That is the situation. There are no clear answers coming from a courtroom, no press conference, no one stepping out and calmly explaining what is really going on. All we have is a sealed file dated February 25th, 2026, and a public timeline that keeps blowing up in ways nobody can fully explain because the people involved are not allowed to talk. The gag order blocks Cardi B, Offset, and anyone connected to them from making disparaging or defamatory remarks on social media or in interviews. On paper, that sounds simple. In real life, it means the people who might actually know the truth cannot say much of anything, while everyone else is left staring at gunfire, deleted Instagram follows, and public sightings like they are clues. And inside that same court order, a judge approved a paternity test for one child, while denying Offset's request to test the newborn born in November 2025. So there is a truth somewhere. A test was approved. Something is moving inside the sealed case. But officially, the public gets silence.
This is all triggered by Offset posting and deleting on his story saying, "My wife on me, gang. Y'all know how I come."
The day before that, he was saying that.
So the DM.
Yeah.
I seen them DM to my wife, "I'ma run into you."
That.
Now look at what happened about 6 weeks after that order was entered. On April 6th, 2026, Offset was shot outside the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Florida. He suffered a leg wound, was hospitalized, and his team said the injury was not life-threatening. Almost immediately, people started asking the same thing. Was this somehow connected to the paternity fight? 2 months earlier, he had asked a judge to force DNA testing involving Cardi B's children. One request was denied, one request was granted. Then, he gets shot. To be clear, no source has confirmed any connection, and because the gag order is in place, nobody close to the case can really step in and explain what is or is not related, even if they wanted to. So the story lands in this foggy space where every detail feels important, but none of it can be nailed down. Then came the detail that made it even harder to read. Cardi B reportedly checked on him after the shooting. Even with the divorce, even with the paternity challenge, even with everything hanging between them, she reached out. That alone would already make the situation complicated. But with everyone legally boxed in, the shooting becomes one of those moments people can read 5 different ways. Was it connected? Was it random? Was it an escalation? Was it just horrible timing? The gag order makes the question almost impossible to deal with. There is no clean answer available. All anyone can do is watch what happens after. And what happened after that did not really match the breakup story people thought they understood. Around the Super Bowl in February 2026, the public signs looked pretty obvious. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs unfollowed each other on Instagram. She left the stadium early. The blogs framed it like a clean split. It seemed like the natural ending of a relationship that had already been dragged through paternity lawsuits, messy timelines, and non-stop online attention. People treated it like the chapter was closed. But then, on April 8th, just 2 days after Offset was shot, Diggs was spotted at Cardi B's Washington, D.C. tour stop. He was not tucked away somewhere trying to stay invisible. He was there with his mother and his brother, dancing in the crowd while she performed. Then there was the after party. Witnesses said Cardi walked right over to Diggs' white sports car, spoke with him for a moment, and got into the passenger seat. They drove off together. That does not look like two people strictly avoiding each other. It does not really match the neat breakup narrative the internet had already settled on. It looks like something more complicated. And because the gag order is still active, nobody can really explain what that something is. Maybe they reconciled. Maybe they never fully split in the first place. Maybe they are managing appearances while the legal side of things keeps moving in the background. Nobody can say that with certainty. So, naturally, everyone starts guessing.
We were preparing for the show. I'm like, who could Offset potentially do to get back? And I seen this one. But she's married.
Who? This one?
The person that he got to bounce back with to equal out the plan.
Who you got?
Nicki Minaj.
Oh, you said that. You said Nicki Minaj.
That's the only one he can come back with.
So let's lay out what is actually known. A judge sealed the most important answers behind a gag order on February 25th. Offset pushed for DNA testing and got one test approved, but not for the newborn. About 6 weeks later, he was shot. Cardi B reportedly checked on him anyway. Then, the Super Bowl breakup signals turned into a DC concert sighting that looked much less like a breakup and much more like something unresolved. And through all of this, one rule keeps shaping the story. The people closest to the truth cannot really talk. That is how the court wanted it. The goal was likely to cool down the public fight, stop the social media shots, and prevent explosive interviews from making things worse. But the result is an information vacuum so deep that the only public evidence left is messy behavior, and messy behavior rarely clears anything up. It usually makes people assume the worst. You can see how fast the story mutates when nobody is able to correct it. Within weeks of the court order surfacing, a viral claim started spreading across social media. The claim was that a DNA test had supposedly proved Offset was the father of the baby connected to Stefan Diggs. It took off fast. People believed it because it sounded like the kind of bombshell that would make the whole story snap into place. It seemed to explain why Offset wanted testing, why the tension never really cooled down, and why people were looking at the shooting through that same lens.
All I'm saying is, if I felt like my girl was cheating, I'm gonna get it off of these two. If I felt like my girl was cheating and she said these things to dispel my thought, it would not be dispelled.
No, at all.
It would actually.
But the court record points in a very different direction. The judge explicitly denied Offset's request to test the newborn. That means no test was approved for that child, and no results from that kind of test would exist under that ruling. So the viral story is not simply unverified. It does not fit with what the order actually says. And the gag order makes it even messier because there is no easy public correction from the people involved. Cardi B cannot just jump online and clear it up. Offset cannot freely respond. Diggs is not exactly in a position to explain it either, so the rumor stays out there, polished and shareable, while the truth is locked inside a sealed case file. That is a big part of what keeps this whole situation moving. The legal system creates the bottleneck. The internet fills it with whatever sounds believable enough. A shooting that may or may not be related. A breakup that may or may not be real. A reconciliation sighting that may or may not mean anything. A viral rumor that appears to be false but keeps moving anyway. Every new development looks like it should answer something, but the gag order keeps the answers out of reach. The DNA test exists. It was approved. That part is real. But the public still does not know which child was tested, what the results say, or whether those results will ever become public.
And then he just like screaming and just throwing things, throwing up, running all over, and I was so scared.
And underneath all the internet speculation, there are real consequences for the people actually living through it. Offset was shot. That is not gossip. That is real gunfire, a real hospital visit, and a real leg wound. Whether it had anything to do with the paternity dispute or not, the violence itself is not some theory. Cardi B had to decide whether to check on a man who was challenging her in court, and according to reports, she did. That choice means something, even if we cannot fully interpret it from the outside. Diggs showing up at her concert with his family also means something. That is not a private text message. That is a visible public choice. But because of the gag order, none of them can really step forward and explain how we should understand any of it. So the audience is stuck watching actions without context, which is one of the easiest ways for a story to spiral. When people are not allowed to speak, their behavior starts carrying too much weight. Every move gets treated like evidence, and once everything looks like evidence, almost nothing actually counts as proof. The timing is hard to brush off. The court order came down on February 25th. The shooting happened on April 6th. The DC sighting happened on April 8th. That is a lot packed into a very short stretch of time. And somewhere in the middle of all that, the false DNA rumor spread quickly enough to become its own storyline. It only falls apart if people actually read the court documents instead of the viral posts. But most people are not reading court documents. They see the rumor first. They absorb the rumor first. And even once the contradiction is pointed out, the rumor keeps moving because no one with direct authority can easily stand up and say, that is false. So the lie and the truth end up existing at the same time. The lie is louder. The truth is sealed. A judge may have wanted to stop public attacks and keep the situation from getting uglier, but the silence has also created the perfect space for misinformation to grow. The real evidence is there, somewhere, but from the outside, it is almost impossible to read. So where does that leave the story now? The approved DNA test results are somewhere in the system. Maybe in a file, maybe with a lab, maybe buried inside a sealed court record. The gag order is still active. The shooting happened. The breakup signals were public. The DC sighting was public. The false rumor is still circulating, and nobody can confidently say which of these things will end up mattering most. The only way the public can follow the story is by watching the timeline for little signals that slip through the cracks. A deleted post, a sighting, a reaction, a silence. That is what passes for evidence now. Not testimony, not open documents, just behavior. And behavior without explanation creates more noise than clarity. The truth is locked in a courthouse. The people who know it are legally limited in what they can say, and the public is left with a shooting, a breakup that may not be a breakup, a reconciliation that may not be a reconciliation, and a rumor that refuses to disappear. This does not feel like a story calmly heading toward an answer. It feels like one more sealed document, one lifted gag order, or one unexpected public moment could blow the whole thing open. The sealed court file is not the only place this story has been hiding. Before the gag order, before anyone was even asking for the DNA test in that case, Stefan Diggs was already caught up in a separate legal fight that had nothing to do with Cardi B or Offset. In December 2024, a woman named Aileen LaPera filed a paternity suit against him in Los Angeles. She was pregnant at the time. She said Diggs was the father. Diggs responded by saying he was not certain, and he asked for genetic testing. That would have been a story on its own. But the calendar is what makes it stand out. LaPera's daughter was born in April 2025. 5 months later, in September, Cardi B sat down with Gayle King on CBS Mornings and announced that she was expecting a baby with Diggs. So while Diggs was publicly building a relationship with one of the biggest names in music, he was also privately dealing with a court fight over whether he had fathered another woman's child, and when the DNA test came back, it confirmed he was the father. Then look at how that case ended. In January 2026, LaPera filed a motion to dismiss without prejudice. Her lawyer said, "The matter has been resolved." In plain terms, that usually means the sides reached some kind of private agreement. The case went away. But the part that stays on the record is the timing. The overlap is public. The confirmed paternity is public. And while the Cardi Offset divorce court was sealing documents and putting a gag order on the parties, Diggs already had a legally confirmed paternity situation in the background. Another woman, another child, another DNA test that actually happened and actually proved something. So the issue is not whether Diggs has dealt with contested paternity before. He has. The more interesting question is why one case gets locked down so tightly while the other was settled quietly and dismissed. Maybe that is just how the legal pieces landed. Maybe there is more to it. Either way, the pattern is sitting there in public view.
I lived about this. There was a court hearing today.
Correct.
And
He did not appear in court, right?
he did not, but his attorney did remotely and said, look, we got a statement from the attorney saying, all this is nonsense. This never happened. This is just because this woman is trying to get paid, and she made these allegations all up.
Did he enter plea today?
No.
Then came the criminal case that looked like it might finally be over. In December 2025, Diggs' personal chef, Mila Adams, accused him of attacking her during a dispute over pay. She said he became aggressive, smacked her across the face, and tried to choke her. He was charged with felony strangulation and misdemeanor assault. He pleaded not guilty in February 2026. The trial happened. The jury deliberated, and on May 5th, 2026, they found him not guilty on both charges. That was a legal win. The case, at least in court, was supposed to be finished. But 6 days later, on May 11th, Adams posted a video online. In that video, she made a new allegation. She claimed Diggs had abused Cardi B during her pregnancy. She said he belittled her, mistreated her in the delivery room, and claimed text messages exist to prove it.
P4C, I don't know. Whatever, who the fuck QP is. He was like keeping him in the deal and like basically like robbing him for like a lot of his money.
Well, you knew that when he signed.
Yeah, so to get out of his deal, he was like, I tried his ego. I was like, if you got all this money and you so rich, why the want me for? And so he was like, okay, bet. Like,
the timing is hard to ignore. Not guilty on Tuesday. A new allegation the following Monday. 6 days. Adams did not make that claim during the trial. She did not make it before the verdict. She made it right after the verdict came down. That does not feel like random timing. It feels like someone waiting for one legal chapter to close before putting something else into the public conversation. The jury said not guilty on the charges in front of them. Adams then came out with a different accusation, in a completely different lane. And because the gag order already limits what Cardi B and Offset can say, and Diggs appears to be staying quiet for his own reasons, the allegation just hangs there. Unconfirmed, unresolved, not publicly answered in any clear way. The court case may be over, but the public reaction clearly is not. The legal picture gets even messier from there. Diggs is also fighting a defamation case against a man named Christopher Blake Griffith, who accused him of misconduct connected to an incident in May 2023. Diggs is the one who filed the lawsuit. He says Griffith made false statements that hurt his reputation and damaged his ability to earn income. But now, Griffith's legal team is asking a federal judge to make Diggs turn over financial records. They want to see how much damage he can actually prove. And their argument cuts right into everything else happening around him. They say any harm to Diggs' reputation comes from his own messy personal life, not from Griffith's posts. They are pointing straight at the overlapping paternity claims, the criminal trial, and the newer allegations. Griffith's lawyer put it bluntly. Diggs does not get to sue and hide. A pretrial hearing is scheduled for July 2026. So while one case is locked behind a gag order, another case may be preparing to pull his finances into federal court.
It's just, especially something that is so sacred as your pregnancy is yours. Angry.
How angry were you?
Depends on the level of angry, to be honest with you.
Let's talk about the levels.
I don't think I was like on a high level of angry. I was more on a high level of
And there's another front that has not been getting enough attention. In May 2026, Cardi B filed a motion in bankruptcy court accusing the blogger Tasha K of violating their settlement agreement. The original case goes back to the defamation judgment from 2022, when Tasha K was ordered to pay nearly $4 million. After Tasha K filed for bankruptcy, Cardi B agreed to a structured payment plan, but with one condition: no more negative comments about Cardi or her family. Cardi's legal team now says Tasha K broke that agreement during a live stream where she mocked Offset and claimed he has a serious gambling problem. She allegedly said Offset uses everyone else's money and suggested his habits played a role in the separation. Cardi B is asking the judge for sanctions. Her lawyers say Tasha K has violated the agreement more than 25 times. So even the older legal fights are not staying buried. Even the settlements are starting to spill back into court. Step back and look at how many legal threads are now circling the same group of people. The LaPera paternity suit shows Diggs had overlapping obligations before most of the public was paying attention. The Adams criminal trial ended with a not guilty verdict, but the post-verdict video brought the drama right back. The Griffith defamation case is moving toward a fight over financial disclosure. The Tasha K bankruptcy dispute is pulling old defamation drama back into the courtroom, and sitting in the middle of all of it is the original sealed DNA test from the Cardi Offset divorce case. Approved. Real. Still unknown to the public. The gag order is supposed to prevent public warfare, but the fighting is not only happening inside that sealed case. It is happening around it, through every case that touches the same people, the same timelines, and the same pressure points. Every nearby legal fight is pushing out more information, more accusations, and more tension into the space where the main case demands silence.
Keep making moves on top of moves on top of moves until the move that you make grants you to be the king. Checkmate or kingmate.
Kingmate.
You dig what I'm saying? It's all a game. Hey, what I say? It's all entertainment, baby. It's all entertainment. It's all entertainment.
So what is actually being contained here? Not as much as the gag order might suggest. The LaPera case was settled and dismissed, but the timeline overlap is still public record. The Adams trial ended in acquittal, but her video accusation is still circulating. The Griffith defamation case is moving toward financial discovery. The Tasha K settlement is being challenged again. Each one works like a small gap in a system that was supposed to stay sealed, and each one leads people back to the same questions. What is in that approved DNA test? Which child was tested? What do the results say? The gag order blocks the main event, but everything happening around it is still playing out in public. That is what makes this whole situation so uncomfortable. The legal system created a sealed space around the Cardi Offset Diggs paternity dispute. The gag order is meant to keep that part of the story contained. But the sealed case is surrounded by other open cases involving the same names, the same timelines, and the same messy patterns. And those cases are not sealed the same way. One paternity suit gets settled. One post-verdict video goes public. One defamation case pushes toward financial records. One old judgment gets pulled back into court through bankruptcy. The main case may be locked down, but pressure is building everywhere around it. At some point, something may give. Maybe the gag order gets lifted. Maybe a document leaks. Maybe one of the surrounding cases puts enough information into the open that the sealed file matters less, because people have already pieced together more than they were supposed to know.
The internet always causes unnecessary problems, unnecessary disagreements, unnecessary things, because a lot of the stuff on the internet and on the line isn't true. So I would just say they need to have that conversation, a real conversation. I'm not leaving this room until it's done, and those are the toughest conversations. When your wife wants to have a conversation, those are the toughest things, because you got to put everything on the table. That's the only way something's going to work. Everything has to go on the table for you to possibly be able to move on, and I'm hoping that they can have that conversation.
The story is not getting smaller. It is spreading sideways. Older cases are resurfacing. New allegations are landing. Financial records could be pulled into the open. And the original sealed test is still sitting there, approved but unread by the public. What do you make of Adams' timing? 6 days after a not guilty verdict is specific enough to make people look twice. And do you think the Griffith defamation case could force out details that the gag order was meant to keep away from the public? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We will keep watching all the open fronts because this is not over. It is barely even contained.